Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It appears that we are having yet another very, very dismally gray, overcast, and snowy day. Oh, yes, it is a cold morning. It is minus 11. Yeah, it is cold. What the hell am I doing outside here? It's freaking freezing. I need to get inside where it's nice and warm. But of course, this is not the whole video. I shall see you out on the trail later. Ta-ta. Yeah, so I'm in beautiful downtown Owen Sound, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit snowy and icy out. Yeah, absolutely. Snow and ice. And, yeah, I'm wearing the hat with the ear flaps because it is cold enough that I need ear flaps to avoid freezing my ears off. Yeah, and I don't even have big ears. I have little ears, but they're in danger of being frozen in this, so yeah. Anywho, I wanted to talk to you about how sad and depressing and miserable my life is as an atheist. Yeah, it's just absolutely horrible how sad and depressing my life as an atheist truly is. And how much better my life was when I was in abject misery, wallowing in self-pity and self-loathing, back when I was still an active practicing Christian. Yeah, how much better my life was. Right, okay, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, seriously, I keep running into evangelical apologists and others who keep telling me that I am so miserable and that my life is so sad and that I am so depressed and angry and I'm mad at God and I am blaming God for all my problems. And I just have to ask, what problems? What actual fucking problems do I have? I mean, my life is pretty good since I escaped from religion. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I suppose it's appropriate that I record this here on the hiking trail in the midst of what appears superficially to be desolation and death, but which is in fact a world bursting with potential. Because, yeah, Christianity taught me to see only despair. I would have seen this only as bleakness and misery, and I would not have been able to appreciate the beauty that exists here. Hey, yeah, it's me again. Oh, yeah, so I told you I would hit the trail eventually, and I did hit the trail eventually, but I'm not skiing, I'm hiking. Still, we have a lot of snowfall, it's getting pretty deep, and it's quite cold out here. So, yeah. Oh, I'm keeping my hands in my pockets. Yeah, keep them warm. Anywho, yeah. Still talking about that interesting problem of evangelical fundamentalists who continue to insist that I, as an atheist, am miserable, angry, bitter, lonely, depressed, etc., 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 and that all I need is Jesus, and my life will become better. I'm going to explain this. I tried Jesus. I'm an ex-Christian. I was a Christian. I was a Christian for 15 of the most miserable, depressed, hateful, self-loathing years of my life. When I was a Christian, I wallowed in misery. There was no way in hell that I was ever going to find any kind of happiness. Because, yeah, my religious indoctrination precluded it. So that's the thing about Protestant Christianity in particular. It's very big on instilling in children a deep sense of self-loathing. Teaching children that they are nothing but miserable sinners, and that any good that they do is nothing more than filthy rags, and that they need to pray harder, and they need to beg Jesus harder. Yeah. And in many cases, they need to suck that preacher dick harder. Yeah. Yeah. And that is the thing about evangelical Christian fundamentalism in particular, is you're not actually offering me joy. You're offering to take away my joy. You're basically telling me that I have to give up everything that makes me happy and go back to grinding my own face into the floor of the church, begging Jesus to forgive me for existing. This is not joy. This is despair, misery, self-loathing, self-degradation even. And that's what you want me to go back to. And my answer, of course, is no. I'm not going back to that. I've done that. I'm never doing that again. Because, again, as I said, I am an ex-Christian. And as an atheist, I have a much happier life than I had when I was a Christian. Much happier. Well. So, yes, the notion that I, as an atheist, have to be miserable, depressed, unhappy, etc., is absolute nonsense. Yeah. I am none of those things. Now, admittedly, I have bad days, but that's just bad days. They happen to everybody. They happened when I was a Christian. Although, when I was a Christian, bad days were the rule. Good days were the rarity. Now, as an atheist, I'm finding quite the opposite. Good days are the rule, bad days the exception. And yes, I do keep track. I am a basically happy person, and I will never give that up. So no, I'm not going back to being a self-loathing, self-hating, wallowing in self-disgust, hardline Christian fundamentalist grinding my face into the church floor to beg Jesus to forgive me for existing. My life has value. My life has worth. And I don't need a dead God on a stick to tell me that I deserve to be treated like a basic, decent human being. Funny how that works. Funny how that works. Anywho, I gotta get going. Ta-ta, folks. Have a good one. Yeah, so I just wanted to add one little thing. To all you apologists and evangelicals out there, a piece of advice. When you encounter atheists or people who just don't share your particular religious belief, instead of telling us what we think, telling us what we feel, telling us what we believe, maybe try asking. Ask us what we think. Ask us what we feel. Ask us what we believe. And maybe, just maybe, you might find that you actually gain some ground with us, because There's nothing more insulting than being told that your life experience wasn't real. There's nothing more offensive than being told that you don't know what your own thoughts are, that you don't know how you feel, you don't know what you are experiencing. It's insulting. It is belittling, it is demeaning, and it is, well, dare I say it, infuriating. So don't do it. Just don't do it. Because when you do it, you've already pretty much shut the door to any kind of communication. Once you tell us what we think, we are no longer interested in having this conversation. Whereas if you ask and then listen, then we can have a conversation. Because then it's not just you dictating to us what we think, what we feel, what we believe. It's you asking us what we think, asking us what we feel, asking us what we believe, and then listening and hearing and understanding where we are coming from. Understand where I come from as an ex-Christian, okay? Understand where I come from as actually a heterosexual male who is not trans in any way, shape, or form. Ask where I come from a position of being poor, from being not white, but still able to pass for white. Ask. Don't tell me. Ask me. Don't tell me that I'm a white person. Don't tell me that I've never heard of Jesus. Don't tell me that I'm miserable. Don't tell me that I'm gay. Don't tell me that I'm trans. And above all, do not tell me that I've never had a job before, because, well, this is quite literally my day off from work. And I have worked most of my adult life. So yes, I have been employed probably longer than some of you apologists have been alive. Something to think about. Oh, and don't tell me that I'm a suburban American teenager living in my mother's basement, because I am none of the above. I am rural, Canadian, in my 50s, and I have not lived with my parents since I was in my teens. I moved out when I was 18. Just so you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah. If you listen, if you learn, you might be able to facilitate meaningful conversation. And after all, isn't that the whole point of all this? To facilitate meaningful conversation? I would certainly hope so. I would certainly hope that it is your honest intention to actually engage in discussion. Because, well, if your sole purpose is to preach at me, nobody likes that. Nobody likes being preached at. And it has nothing to do with the fact that you're preaching Christianity. You could be preaching Satanism, and it would still be offensive, obnoxious, rude, and inconsiderate. Because, yeah, preaching at people is rude. So let's have a conversation, shall we? Let's have a conversation. Anywho, I gotta go back home because I need a mug of tea. And you probably need a mug of tea too, so yeah, go home. Ta-ta!